The ash-colored surface of Varanus 7 shimmered under the twin suns like powdered glass. Every footstep crunched with the brittle memory of forgotten wars. Above the jagged horizon, Imperial dropships descended in arrogant formation, belching steam and confidence into the vacuum. But nestled among the cracked obsidian ridges, Elara Voss remained still, just another shadow. Her body hugged the terrain like it belonged there. Dirt streaked across her cheekbone. A railgun, worn and customized with carved initials at the stock, rested beneath her gloved hands. It was silent. She was silent. The Empire, however, was loud, always loud. Unit Delta 6 confirms last Terran outpost cleared, came a voice over the enemy's open channel. Mail clipboard. Awaiting command for ceremonial purge. Elara's jaw tightened. Ceremonial purge, she whispered. That's what they called mass executions. Ritual. Clean. Efficient. Like it wasn't the same butchery her brother died in on Halcyon Rift. She slid backward, inch by inch, into a ravine cut from lava rock. Her eyes scanned the landscape, burnout pods, helmet shards, torn flags half buried in dust. Her squad had died fast. One moment laughter over ration packs, the next, glassified craters where their boots used to be. Her voice cracked the stillness, low and precise. Command, this is Voss. Foxtrot 3 eliminated. No survivors. Going dark. No reply. She hadn't expected one. Comms had been dead since the EMP strike 2 weeks ago. Still, protocol. She unhooked the dog tag around her neck, the one that didn't belong to her. It was bent from plasma heat. Private K, Voss. Her brother. She tucked it beneath her collar, next to her heart. A distant thump echoed through the air, landing gears slamming earth. Imperial patrols were deploying. 10-man squads, 4-legged drones scanning heat signatures, exocets bristling with autocannons. Overkill. Always overkill. She found one of them just past the ridge, a scout unit. Light armor, moving alone, detached from its pack. Rookie mistake. He didn't even notice the tripwire. Not until the pressure mine hissed and leapt up with a cough of dirt and fury. Elara watched from cover. No expression crossed her face as the explosion sent metal and limbs in different directions. She emerged only after the dust settled. Silent again. Quick. Surgical. Kneeling beside the body, she checked his insignia. Young. Fresh. Probably thought this was another backwater mission before a promotion. His helmet had rolled several meters away. She found it, pulled a combat knife from her boot, and carved into the faceplate. You are being hunted. She placed the helmet on a broken comms relay and rigged the corpse to sit upright against a boulder. Let's see how funny you think this is, she muttered. By dusk, if such a thing existed under Varana's flickering auroras, she was already repositioned. A high vantage near a natural choke point. The enemy would come to collect their dead. Always did. Imperial pride ran deeper than common sense. Her HUD flickered. Energy spike. 30 meters southwest. Movement. She adjusted her railgun scope. 2 Imperials appeared, approaching the trap. Standard search and retrieve. One scanned the terrain, the other moved straight for the body. She exhaled, long and slow. Hold formation. One of them barked. Stay sharp, this smells off. Don't be paranoid. Just another primate with a grudge. Crack. The first round went clean through his visor. The second, milliseconds later, tore into the other's neck. They dropped before their armor registered the breach. No time to linger. She packed up, relocated. Always relocate. Elara moved through the jagged landscape with practiced grace, a ghost with purpose. By the time Imperial Command registered the deaths, she was already observing their staging area from a half-ruined observation tower. Half the camp now buzzed with urgency. Lights blinked in rapid succession. Comms chattered. Drones launched in wide sweeps. Inside the tower, Elara found a shattered mirror. Her reflection was almost unrecognizable, thin lips cracked, a shallow scar over her brow, green eyes shadowed by fatigue. Yet beneath it all, there was focus. Unbroken and precise. She tapped her ear and whispered to no one. 3 down. 17,000 to go. Down below, an officer barked to his subordinates. Send word to Commander Zahn, there's a ghost on this moon. Elara smiled, just slightly. Not a ghost. A reckoning. Varuna 7 had no weather, but it had moods. The horizon that morning pulsed with a pale fog, ionized vapor rising from the deep thermal cracks scattered like veins across the moon's scarred surface. The fog danced, shimmering with the colors of a dying aurora, muting sound and distorting vision. Elara welcomed it. Chaos had cover. So did she. Crouched behind a collapsed fuel station, she studied the Imperial camp through a broken lens. Their neat formations were unraveling. Tents shifted location. Watch rotations increased. Floodlights cast jittery shadows. Paranoia had replaced arrogance. She pulled a ration bar from her pouch, took a small bite, and chewed without emotion. The silence whispered louder than words. Then static crackled in her earpiece, barely there, fractured, like ghosts trying to speak. OSS. Do you copy? Foxtrot 3. Elara froze mid-chew. Repeat, she whispered. Say again. This is Staff Sergeant Elara Voss. Command node compromised. If you're alive, disable uplink tower, restore secure relay. The transmission cut. She stared into the fog, pulse steady. Her mission just changed. The uplink tower was a slab of imperial arrogance rising from the far end of the valley. 12 stories tall, flanked by shield generators and a security patrol on 20-minute cycles. She'd studied it before, back when she had a team. Now, the math was different. 1 woman, 3 charges, and a bag of misdirection. She crawled through an old maintenance tunnel, stomach brushing against jagged wire and old coolant sludge. Her camo net shifted with her, draped like shed skin. Every movement was deliberate, economic. Precision was survival. Reaching the vent grid below the tower, she waited. Listened. The steady stomp of exocets passed overhead, 2 guards, bored and loud. She pulled out a charge, thin as a credit wafer. Hello, Domino, she whispered, and slid it into the relay's cooling shaft. She rigged the second near the backup generator under a drainage pipe. The third? That went on the tower's own scanner array. The irony felt good. Elara tapped the detonator but didn't press. Not yet. Back in the hills, she needed a distraction. Something bold enough to draw attention but surgical enough to avoid civilian fallout. Not that the Empire cared for such distinctions. She circled toward the comms relay station east of the main camp. Abandoned. Forgotten. Perfect. She set her last drone in motion, a relic from before the blackout. Small, sleek, and barely alive. It zipped across the landscape, trailing a weak signature copied from a Terran signal pack. Enough to look like a surviving soldier transmitting encrypted orders. It worked. The Empire's commnet flared with alerts. We've got movement! Sector 9! Scramble intercept team! Find it! Elara watched the patrols scatter. She smiled without warmth. Now. Click. The uplink tower erupted with precise violence. No fireball, no spectacle. Just a series of implosions that folded the structure into itself like collapsing lungs. Sparks danced across the valley. Imperial calm stuttered. Internal systems flickered. Confusion bloomed. But she wasn't done. Elara sprinted downhill, closing the gap to the relay station. Inside, dust coated every console. She slapped a patch onto the mainframe, fingers flying. Her data slate synced. A screen lit up. Text scrolled. Command relay reconnected. Access temporary. Message duration 15 seconds. She opened the file she'd recorded days earlier. Her voice, steady and firm, filled the system. To all surviving units, Varuna 7 is not lost. 1 operative active. Empire vulnerable. Stay low. Strike smart. War isn't won by numbers, It's won by never giving up. She hit send. Then wiped the terminal clean. Later, from a safe overlook, she watched the Empire's panic unfold. Shuttles redirected. Drones doubled back. Units began interrogating their own techs. Commander Zahn's voice boomed from the central array. Lock down all towers. No transmissions leave this moon without my seal. I want that sniper's head. Elara chuckled, bitter and quiet. From her belt, she pulled a voice chip, recorded weeks ago during a moment she'd been too numb to cry. Play audio log, she whispered. A younger voice crackled through. Hey, Elara. If you're hearing this, I guess my luck ran out. Don't get poetic. Just finish the mission. Hit them where it hurts. Show them we weren't jokes. I love you, sis. Her brother's voice faded. She exhaled, long and controlled. Copy that, soldier. Night fell over Varina 7. The fog deepened. In the silence, Elara moved again, one shadow among many. But this shadow had a purpose. The cold didn't bother Elara. Not anymore. Her heartbeat was slower than usual, nearly meditative. She lay prone on a natural ledge carved into the basalt cliffs, her body wrapped in thermal mesh and camo netting, motionless except for the rise and fall of her chest. Below her, the enemy bustled like ants with too much technology and not enough sense. An armored transport growled across the dusty plateau, its sensor arrays sweeping in slow arcs. Troops moved in staggered formations, rifles drawn, eyes wary. They were learning. But not fast enough. Elara blinked once calmly. The crosshairs in her scope hovered over the forward command tent. Inside it, she knew, was Commander Zahn. She'd seen him briefly the night before through her long-range scope, his silver-lined armor and smug gait unmistakable. He didn't believe in snipers. Didn't believe humans had the discipline or patience for precision warfare. He called them scattershot apes during a broadcast last week. Her trigger finger twitched once. Just a tick of impulse. Not today. There was too much glass between them. Too much distance. Too many unknowns. So she waited. 21 hours had passed. The suns had shifted. The air pulsed with static. Her water tube ran dry 6 hours ago. Hunger scraped the edges of her focus. Still, she didn't move. She remembered what Sergeant Calder used to say during sniper school. The kill doesn't come from the shot, it comes from the silence before it. He'd died screaming in orbit over Jupiter's 6th moon. A clean shot wasn't always guaranteed. Silence wasn't always respected. But Elara remembered the lesson. She blinked again, slowly, as a tremor shifted the soil beneath her. Just a ground quake, Varina 7 did that sometimes. Like the moon was breathing too. A soft beep chirped in her ear. Power cell dropping. She flicked a finger, killing all non-essential HUD elements to preserve energy. The scope dimmed, but the target zone remained visible. A tech crew passed near the command tent, chatting loudly. Can't believe they're sending a kill squad for one human, one said. She's not just a human, replied the other. They say she talks to ghosts. Elara allowed herself a faint smile. Nightfall. Shadows consumed the camp. The patrols had doubled. They were building a perimeter wall now. Too late. She'd already bypassed their strongest point, by lying in plain sight above them. Her eyes burned, but she didn't blink. The scope adjusted automatically for low light. Her breath fogged inside the mask. She adjusted the rangefinder, watching Zahn exit the tent. His cape dragged across the gravel. A translator drone hovered beside him. He paced. Angry. Frustrated. Good. One of his aides said something, but Elara couldn't read the lips from this angle. Zahn's fist flew. The aide dropped. Temper. She logged it. He turned toward the bunker. No clean line. Elara exhaled. An hour later, a voice broke through the silence in her ear. It wasn't command. It was a private channel, one of the fallback frequencies used only by Foxtrot units. Her unit. The one that no longer existed. Voss, If you're alive, this is Lieutenant Thane. We've got chatter across the fringe colonies. Your hit on the relay made it. People are rising. You did it. You lit the spark. She stared ahead. Still. Hold your ground. The voice continued. Don't die now. We need ghosts like you. It faded out. No reply possible. But it was enough. She shifted slightly. A slow, patient inch. Her left knee protested. She ignored it. Through the reticle, she saw a flash of movement. Zahn, again, out in the open. Arguing with a technician. His voice, carried in the wind, distorted. Primitive tactics, make them afraid of their own shadows. She zoomed in. Glass window behind him. Still no shot. But something clicked in her brain. If she couldn't shoot through him now, maybe she could make the window irrelevant. She scanned the terrain behind the bunker and marked a reflective surface. A supply crate. Metal sheen. Perfect angle. A ricochet. It would take 3 bounces. Wind, range, surface tension, all variables. But the math worked. Almost. She scribbled the equation into her slate with her fingertip, rechecked every metric. Still viable. But not now. It wasn't the moment. Dawn broke. She shut her eyes for 3 seconds, the longest blink in 23 hours. When she opened them again, her pulse was steady. Her target would expose himself again. He always did. She'd be ready. The shot wasn't just about vengeance. It was a message. To Zahn. To the Empire. To every corner of the galaxy that still believed humans couldn't win. She wasn't here to survive. She was here to make them remember. The first thing Alara heard was laughter. Not the cruel bark of a soldier or the hollow arrogance of Zahn. It was orchestrated. Broadcasted. Deliberate. A looped recording of Zahn's voice echoed through loudspeakers positioned across the outpost, channeled into every exposed crevice of the valley. The sniper's still out there, hiding like a frightened rodent. Let her listen to this. Let her know, no matter where she crawls, we are watching. A second voice chimed in, synthetic, mocking. Your death is a certainty, Terran. Delay only ensures you die tired. Alara remained silent, watching from the northern ridge. She didn't flinch, didn't react. Her scope was fixed on the base's staging platform, where Zahn had set up a new command hub in full view, shielded by a dome and surrounded by an elite guard. It was bait. They'd moved the transport ships into the open, installed fake antenna arrays, and positioned decoy officers. The Empire was trying to draw her out. She almost appreciated the effort. Then the laughter began again. A different kind of tactic, psychological warfare. Turn silence into noise. Pressure the unseen. Fracture control. She tapped her earpiece, switching channels. The same loop repeated, every line intentionally degrading, mocking. Alara pulled back from the ledge. If they wanted a game, she'd change the rules. Her hands moved fast but with care. She retrieved her signal jammer, rewired its core, and routed it into her drone controller. The last drone she had was too weak to fly anymore, but its speaker worked. She recorded 3 words. Then she climbed. A half-mile east, nestled between 2 boulders, was a perfect elevation for a sound trap. She placed the drone there, buried it under loose stone, and retreated across the basin. On cue, the drone lit up and played her recording. Still laughing? The Empire's response was instant. Half the patrol squads reoriented toward the decoy. Floodlights swept violently. Zahn's voice shouted through comms. I want that sound traced now. They took the bait. Alara moved with purpose, cutting through a collapsed tunnel system once used by miners. Inside, she planted 2 microcharges along the corridor roof. They were small, directional, high velocity, no fire, built to bring stone down like a guillotine. Back on the surface, she adjusted her scope. The first fire team stepped into the canyon. She didn't pull the trigger. Instead, she watched the last soldier break formation to check a heat signature. He paused beside the rock that marked her charge zone. Tap. A soft crack as the microcharge popped. The roof gave way, raining debris. Screams erupted, cut short. Dust filled the air. A perfect curtain. Within seconds, another squad moved in to respond. She activated the second charge. Boom. This one shredded the canyon mouth, collapsing the escape route. Trapped. Crushed. She didn't celebrate. Just marked them off. 2 units gone. 16 dead. No fingerprints. Later that evening, Zahn delivered a speech. He stood atop an armored crawler, flanked by banners and a camera drone, surrounded by 30 men in black elite armor. Behind him, a captured Terran flag mounted like a trophy. Elara tuned into the feed, already patched into their broadcast system. Terran resistance, Zahn announced, is not resilience. It is cowardice dressed in myth. We do not fear shadows. He pointed to the flag. We erase them. The soldiers raised their rifles in unison. Zahn smiled. Elara traced his helmet through her reticle. She could have taken a shot, maybe grazed him, but that wasn't the objective. Not yet. Instead, she uploaded a different file. Seconds later, the entire screen cut to black. Then her voice played, everywhere. Do shadows erase themselves, Commander? Zahn froze. Every soldier turned to the sound. Elara fired a single round, not at him, but at the support cable above the platform. The flag dropped. Right onto Zahn's head. Confusion rippled. Laughter broke out, not from her, but from his own troops. Humiliation. That was the wound she wanted today. By nightfall, the camp atmosphere had changed. Officers barked with sharper tones. Patrols marched harder. Zahn's temper had boiled over. Elara heard the arguments on open channels. Trust was breaking. She'd pierced their unity with misdirection and pressure. She slid back into her perch overlooking the eastern supply road. An Imperial ammo truck rolled in with fresh munitions. 2 guards casual, unaware. She lined up the shot. Not the guards. The axle. Crack. The truck flipped, spilling crates into a ravine. Sparks. No explosion, just panic. A chain reaction followed. A backup squad rushed in, only to trip over proximity mines she'd planted earlier that day. The valley lit with flares, but there was no target. Just noise. Just her. From the command center, Zahn's voice cracked over the speakers. Find her! Find her now! Elara settled into the dark. She didn't need to hide. She was already inside their heads. And they weren't laughing anymore. The storm came without warning, solar flare interference triggering electromagnetic chaos across Varina 7. For 1 hour, no drones flew, sensors flickered blind, and every Imperial helmet displayed static. For Elara, it was providence. She moved fast through the terrain she knew like breath. Low visibility was no problem. Her optics were manual now, body stripped of electronics save for a pulse timer, and her railgun's analog scope. She didn't need tech to aim. She needed wind, angles, and the right moment. Behind her, a distant wail of sirens. The Empire was bracing for another attack. But this time, she wasn't planting traps. She wasn't broadcasting taunts. This time, she was hunting. She reached her position, a ledge carved into a broken mineral shelf, 800 meters from the enemy's forward bunker. Above her, jagged rock towers. Below, the Imperial Plaza where Zahn had built his last line of defense. 3 concentric rings of guards, mounted cannons, and an energy field surrounding the heart of his command post. Her breathing slowed. She lay down, adjusted the railgun, and waited. Inside the bunker, Zahn paced like a trapped animal. Status? He barked. Still no visuals, Commander. She's vanished again. No drone feedback, and patrols keep reporting false sightings. He slammed a fist on the console. She's just one woman. Why haven't we crushed her? An aide muttered. Maybe she's not trying to hide. Maybe she's waiting for us to make a mistake. Zahn turned sharply. If you want to join the last patrol that vanished, keep talking. The aide went silent. Outside, The plaza was crawling. Soldiers checked rooftops, alleys, even trash heaps. The air was thick with tension. But the sensors, without solar calibration, were blind. Elara adjusted her scope. Through the shimmer of disrupted air, she saw the target. Zahn. He stepped onto a balcony armored, flanked by 2 guards. He was issuing orders through a hard-line, calm face uncovered. Confident again. Isolated. She analyzed the distance. Too many variables for a straight shot. But there, just behind the bunker, an abandoned utility dish. Angled. Metal. Strong enough for a bounce. She adjusted the trajectory. Input angle. Calculated spin. Then she shifted slightly, realigned the crosshairs not with his face, but the dish's inner curve. Her finger rested on the trigger. One deep inhale. This is for every Terran you incinerated, Zahn. One slow exhale. She squeezed. Crack. The railgun recoiled with a short, muffled kick. The projectile ripped into the air, curved across Varana's valley, struck the dish, and ricocheted perfectly into the balcony. Zahn jerked. His guards shouted. Blood bloomed. The commander staggered, hands to his helmet, eyes wide as the round punched through his jaw and out the back of his skull. He dropped to his knees, body twisting, collapsing in silence. His helmet rolled into view. Still laughing. Elara didn't wait. She packed her rifle, slid down the ridge, and activated a single-use transmitter. It blinked red, then green, signal locked. The satellite window would stay open for 10 seconds tops. She uploaded the file she'd prepared hours earlier. A short, brutal compilation, Imperial soldiers stumbling over traps. Explosions. Confusion. And finally, Zahn's face, lifeless, staring into the camera. A caption burned beneath it. You laughed. We remembered. The signal bounced across command nets, encrypted for rebel channels. By the time the Empire scrambled to shut it down, it had already spread. Across captured colonies, in pirate dens and freedom cells, the clip ignited. Hope. Back on Varana 7, the remaining Imperial forces scrambled. Orders collapsed. Some soldiers fired blindly into shadows. Others fled their posts. Drones, rebooting, found no heat signatures. No sniper. No trace. Just silence. And fear. Elara reached her extraction point at the far canyon ridge, already coated in soot and dust. A shuttle waited, camouflaged, blinking once in recognition. She climbed aboard. Inside, the pilot turned. Did you get him? She didn't answer. Instead, she pulled her brother's dog tag from under her collar, kissed it once, and tucked it away. Then she looked out the window as the moon vanished below. Target neutralized, she said. Varana is free. The shuttle lifted into the void. Behind her, the Empire still burned. And somewhere in the stars, laughter had finally stopped.